He's lived in over 11 countries in just 6 years, all while helping entrepreneurs ditch the client-chasing grind and reclaim their time. It's Gabe Marusca. He's the founder of Digital Finest, and he's the host of the Authority in the Wild podcast. He's at GabeMarusca.com, and he's on a mission to help 10,000 people build businesses that serve their lives, not run them. I'm your host, Robert Plank from DFYpodcast.com. We remove the tech barriers so you can focus on real conversation. And the real conversation that Mr. Gabe and I are going to have is this ever-chasing journey of finding clients, the mindset shift that requires, and the typical transformation that clients might go through, productizing yourself as a consultant, strategy, coaching, the mission, and who knows what else. We'll have a blast. We'll have an adventure. Mr. Gabe, glad to see you.
Glad to see you too, Robert. Thank you so much for having me.
Happy to have you. And, I always find myself just doubting, second guessing, and the bad thoughts creep in, and I find myself having to counter it with all the good tools, right? The motivation, the self-help, and the quality conversations with someone such as yourself to say, hey, it's really important to have a purpose, to have a mission, to have discipline, to have work ethic, to be surrounded with quality people, to find quality clients, to look at that 80-20, right? There's all so much to do. So hopefully we can set some people straight. We can get people back on track if they're having those similar doubts. But what are you all about? What's your current focus and passion? What just has you so excited these days?
First of all, thank you again for the lovely introduction. And yeah, I do a lot of things, as you mentioned, running a podcast, as well as helping consultant coaches and other people that love to help others without putting themselves down while running a business. And I walk on that mission that you mentioned as of necessity, because at some point in my entrepreneurial journey, I was in a very low point in which I was grinding and chasing all the narratives that you see online, that you need more clients, you need to achieve 7-8 figures in order to be successful, to build a beautiful house, to go in an expensive vacation and all that stuff. And slowly I realized that's not the path that I want to go, because I end up burning out and realizing that it's more to life than just staying in front of a laptop and trying to close the next client, or making that big deal, or building a multi-million-dollar business that you want to exit from. So I wanted something that actually fulfill my life, not something that I'm just doing for the sake of the dollar. So that's how I end up, and that's what excited me, to help others to see there is a better way, a way that they don't just put food on the table, but fulfills them and help them achieve things a bit more above the place that they want to be them as humans on this planet, because time here it's limited. So why not make the most of it without actually putting ourselves down through work, right?
Of course, right, 100%. There is a better way, and there's a path that can and should be navigated to find that fulfillment, to have the lifestyle and the dream that you want, but have it be all inclusive, right? Don't sacrifice one part of your life wheel for the other. Have that happy family and live where you want and do what you want and work your own hours. So how do we have our cake and eat it too, so to speak? What have you discovered as far as we want to build this business, but we don't want to limit ourselves, right? We don't want to hold ourselves back. So how do we have everything we want, but also put in the effort, put in the inputs in order to get the outputs?
It's a good one, because we often chase two types of businesses, right? We either want that entrepreneurial path where we maybe build a huge team, chase the exit, or even working in that business, or growing that business for the entire lifetime of, and that's totally fine. But there's also a lifestyle business, right, in which we don't grow intentionally. We stay at a place that we make enough to sustain our lifestyle, in the same time to have a safety net, in the same time to achieve what we want, financially speaking, but in the same time making sure that we have enough time to live as well. And that's the path that I'm all for. That path allowed me to live wherever I want for the past 6 years, and in the same time to enjoy those places without actually burning down and like I did before. So in order to achieve that, we need to be clear on ourselves, what we actually want. Because again, there is no right or wrong here. Some people want that big exit. They want that uh, huge business with hundreds of employees and so on. If you are on that path, kudos to you. I could not do that because it was too much for me and it wasn't something that fulfilled me. If you are on the other path, from my experience and from what I see others do and help, it's quite simple. Once you decide that you don't want to grow intentionally, you need to leverage what you have at your disposal, your skills, your knowledge, your network, and so on, and see exactly what needs in terms of financially speaking, what do you need to make it happen? Because often it's less than you think. Because you see this narrative online. You need a lot of clients. You need always hundreds of leads in order to close few clients and so on. But the reality is quite different if you think about it. If you just need a certain amount of money, let's say for a year, you calculate based on that how many clients you actually need, and you realize that it's less than you might think. And if you make sure those clients stick with you for the long haul, and long haul might be 10 months, 12 months for one client, you realize that you need to work just with a handful of clients at each given moment in order to make that goal that you have financially speaking. And when you realize that, you turn yourself from that person that chase clients all the time to that person that just replace the client that churn once a year or once in a few months, right? And you actually involve into serving those clients, doing what you do best and what you love, rather than all the time creating content, doing that and trying all the fancy tools and so on in order to just fill your pipeline all the time in order to grow, because grow is the best, right? But
Yeah.
as often is not, and probably you can do way better with just a handful of clients that pay you more, stay with you the longest, and help you as well achieve your own goals, not just you helping them achieve their goals.
Very nice. Well, it's all logical, and I like the organization and the systemization of it, right? You say, well, instead of just more, 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 you say, okay, like what lifestyle do I want? What income do I want? How many clients do I then need? And then what's my goal to shoot for? And then I like how it's focusing on the quality, not the quantity, right? You say, well, I get that quality client. How do I nurture them? How do I make sure that they stay? How do I give them a quality experience? And that way, we always have churn in our business, but we're not just like looking to fill the leaky bucket. And as far as how you've implemented this, what's the service you provide when a client comes to you and they say, "Oh my gosh, I needed Gabe yesterday. I needed him a year ago to help with my business." What's the deliverable? What's the service you provide?
Thanks for asking. So first and foremost, they come to me with a question, like with the affirmation, I want more clients, because most of them they think they want more clients. So first of all, we engage in a conversation. And I love the human part of marketing, in which you actually understand the people that we serve and to make sure that we are aligned. So that's the first stage. And after we engage in that conversation, I invite them to work with me in different ways. So my main product is a productization service in which I guide them through the whole steps in order to achieve that, from understanding exactly who they serve, turning that into a product. And don't think just online courses or any sorts, can be that as well, but often is their expertise packaged in a way that it's hybrid. They have hands-on approach in serving their clients, because I often serve coaches and consultants, and on top of that, there is a product behind it, something that is already pre-packaged. Can be pre-recorded video, can be a system, can be a software, something they can offer as part of that. Can be their AI version of them if that's something that they want to do. But the point is that to have this hybrid approach in which they can serve them better, and the goal to stay with them for longest. So I help them package their expertise into a product, and once that's done, I help them create an offer, because a product is nothing without an actual irresistible offer they can put out there, and people say no without bargaining on price or I don't know, competing on price with their competitors. And once the offer is done, we build the marketing assets. And those can be, depending on the skill, depending on the strengths, can be many things. For example, you have an amazing podcast. That can be a huge marketing asset for a business. Or it can be even blogs, even that we live in the age of AI, blogs still work for some people, and it's a huge asset for them. Other thing can be a classical websites, just a storefront online that can attract their buyers. It can be some landing pages, can be some small funnels, it can be social media presence, it can be a YouTube channel, depending on their skill set, depending on what they are good at. Because some people are good on camera, other people are preferring to stay low and they just prefer to write and so on. And based on that, you build those marketing assets and make them work for them to build that trust and build that authority to attract to the offer. And once all that is set, we make sure that we target the right traffic, attract the right traffic to the, because we already define the audience, and we check where that audience sits online or in real life, because most of them attract clients in real life as well. And once we identify the traffic sources, we try to automate as much as possible without losing the human touch. And thinking of funnels, thinking of other things that can automate, like small things like engagements when it comes to emails, like trying to use AI to summarize the email, and small things that can save a lot of time long term, especially if they are solopreneurs. And also involving this automation part other people. If they have a small team or someone that helps them with, I help them automatize. So all this I package into a productized service that people can engage with. And some enter different stages. Some they already know their audience, some they don't, some they already have an offer, but they just need help selling that. And they can enter at different stages in order to go on this path of actually serving rather than just getting stuck in chasing clients.
Very cool. Well, you thought this through, right? You have a proven system here, and there's so much good stuff that you said, right? You said, well, who do you want to help, and where are they, and then what kind of skills, expertise do you have? So you productize that, and which I like how you said that it's like a hybrid, right? It doesn't just mean, well, I take my whole brain and I put it into videos. You say that you can have like a portal where they can learn things, but also if they need additional help, then they can get you there as well. And then you work on the AI and the automation and the email follow and making sure they get through. And you also mentioned a very helpful, interesting nugget there is that automation doesn't mean you remove humans, right? Automation can mean that someone buys or they log in or a delay happens, and then it creates a manual task for you or your team to then do something that only a human can do, and you do that work and you mark it off, and then they proceed through the funnel. So it doesn't mean just like a depersonalized machine doing the work. You have actual people, but it just makes it all efficient and consistent. And it's a great message. And it's great to hear about what's possible. And you say, okay, now that all that's set up, then you work on getting the traffic and getting people through. And so it just seems like if someone doesn't have you, they might be flying by the seat of their pants, so to speak, right? They're just making it up as they go along, and they need someone like you to say, hey, you've got some real great stuff here, and there's these people you can really help. So why not put it into something that is proven and makes sense and has worked before, but now can it work in a new way for you? And so to get us excited about what's possible with you, can you tell us about like one of your clients or someone that you've helped? Because that always helps me understand, right? It's one thing to talk about these keywords in theory, but like, hey, here's someone where without Gabe, they were stuck, they found you, and it was a lot better afterwards. So what do you have as far as a client sort of success story?
Sure, happy to share. And before I do that, to putting into perspective, imagine that the biggest struggle that people go through without productizing themselves is by creating custom solution every single time, from custom proposals to custom offers for each client they came in. And the biggest thing they overlook is saying no to people, because it's easy to say yes to every opportunity that comes your way, but when you say yes to everything, you kind of don't have space to serve those better clients. And speaking of better clients, one of my clients had huge experience, over 10 years of experience in her field, and was stuck at a lower barrier of entry in terms of services. Was charging hourly base for each call that jump into with a client, she charged a specific amount of money. And even so, she had a huge YouTube channel with 25,000 subscribers, if I'm not wrong, still wasn't able to charge more than that. Because what happened? She undercharged for her expertise. She didn't have a proven system to walk her clients through. So we had to zoom out and see, wait a second, what's the biggest leverage you have here? What's the biggest results that you get from clients? And once we did that, it was much more easier to see, wait a second, you're repeating the process all the time, but you're doing like a call here, a call in a few weeks, a call there, but it's hard for your clients to see the bigger picture, how much value you bring to the table and the results they get if this is scattered all over the place, right? But if you put all that together into a proven system, a proven step-by-step process that you help them with, it's much more easier to see the value. And she did that, and automatically she was able to charge way more than that. Even so, she was skeptical that her past clients will engage into higher price thing. But when she break that down into 3 months period or 6 months period, depending on the client, she was able to not only sell it, but keep those clients past that 6 months period afterwards. So that's one example. Other is I had a client that was able to quit his full-time job. He it's a productized coach and help others productize. Not productize. When you're able to do more things in a smaller amount of time. I missed the word. English is my second language.
Just increase productivity or multiply or
Productivity
speed up.
coach.
Okay,
Exactly. That's the
productivity.
word. Thank you. Yeah. And so he's a productivity coach, and he was able to quit his own job by applying his own expertise on himself, like running a podcast, a newsletter, creating content online, and so on. And once he tested on himself, he knew he has something valuable, but he was unable to package that in an offer that actually it's easy to sell. And after working together in my group program, he was able to build an offer that he sold out for the group program. He created his own group program, which he was able to sold out that to others. And now after, I think, 4-5 months after his initial group program, was able to quit his full-time job and do this full-time while enjoying the process. So those are two examples of two different type of individuals, one with over 10 years experience, the other without experience, but with experience in other businesses and his own productivity endeavors, that was able to turn their knowledge into products without just, I don't know, selling online courses and stuff like that, but a hybrid approach that helped them hands-on with the clients, but in the same time deliver some assets separately to enhance that collaboration, and of course keeping them longer in the process.
Very nice. Well, I'm hearing a little bit of a pattern here is that many people use the term scattered, right? And so it's time to maybe clean up the mess because there are people out there that they have really good stuff to say and they help people, but because they have to start over every single time and make all these custom solutions, then they're inefficient and they're taking way too much time getting this figured out and they're not getting predictable results. So if they found you and came to you and you were able to, as you say, zoom out and look at what can be done to attract more clients, not unlimited, but attract more clients and better clients and take better care of those clients, then it can be a lot less of a scary situation, less chaos, and something that's more reliable, something that's more of a solid business that can sustain, that can grow, that could be sold, that is just a much smoother process. And I'm always thinking about on a podcast, and you're a podcaster too, the problems, the wrinkles, the struggles, the difficulties, the drama. That's what's interesting. So in these last few minutes here, Mr. Gabe, I'm curious about what you are currently struggling with or what you have struggled with. What are the problems that you personally have gone through in your own transformation?
A lot. Do you have a few hours?
Uh,
So yeah, so it's entrepreneurial journey. It's path full of struggles, right? From the one that I mentioned, from burning out to overworking myself and chasing the shiny objects or chasing more clients and so on, to the moments that I actually need to hire even as a solopreneur to get help for different parts of my business in order to be able to do what I want. For example, getting hired for a service that you offer was a struggle at the beginning to find the right uh, people to edit my podcast, to write, to produce the podcast, and so on, in order to be able to focus on the business. So that was a struggle until I managed to sort it out. Other things that apart from hiring talent, another thing was in my nomadic life for the past 6 years, I had moments in which just 3 months back, like middle of the day, internet went off. Like it was still light outside, but I was like, "What's going on?" It's quite rare nowadays, even in a country like Indonesia, on an island like Bali. But the power supply to the entire island that came from Java was faulty, so the electricity on all island went off, and suddenly after the generators went off as well, no data signal on the mobile either. So I was like, oops, this is not good. And I knew that I have a meeting later that day. I knew that I had some deliverables to take care of that day. And I was like, what am I going to do now? Luckily, some restaurants had power, so had diesel generators, and we went there and worked from there. So just a small example of things that can happen in this remote lifestyle or location independent lifestyle. But apart from that, if we are to think to the biggest challenge as an entrepreneur is to think of how to adapt, how to reinvent myself, especially nowadays. If you look around us, a lot of scary social media posts or conversation in which we are doomed, the AI is gonna replace us, and so on. And parts of that might be true. But in the same time, if you use our experience, we can adapt, we can reinvent ourselves, we can provide things that are probably even more better than what we used to provide before, or unique, or pivot entirely. And I pivot a couple of times in my life. I started as a freelancer, as a web design freelancer. Then slowly I start to pivot into solopreneurship and actually building a business, then consultant, and so on. And probably I'll pivot more in the future. But the point is that adaptation was kind of still the biggest struggle, especially the transition part, to really figure out, is this fulfilling? Is this something that actually I'm able to help people with? Is making money? It's ticking all those boxes. That's kind of one of the struggles that I still face, and I still see people facing on a daily basis, because it's that type of world that we are living in. We need to adapt, otherwise probably going to be replaced.
Right. Well, they said that's what evolution is, isn't it? Is the ability to adapt, the survival of the fittest, as they say. And so I can definitely see the value and the need to set aside time for the bigger picture and be devoting some percentage of your brain power throughout the day and the week, and to say, okay, well, I'm running this business, I'm making money, but am I fulfilled? And am I excited and energized and empowered? Am I doing things that light me up and excite me? And am I helping people that make a difference? And I think you're so right that there's like the little problems and the big problems, right? Little problems like maybe the power goes out on the island and temporarily, but those big problems, well, this whole coming AI apocalypse, so to speak. But you say, just like any technological change, it forces us to adapt, right? It forces us to become better and say, hey, I'm not just the website guy anymore. I'll package your knowledge expertise. I'll figure out this whole funnel, this whole business for you, and work on that next step. So if someone out there says, okay, I love what Gabe's message is, and I love what he has to say, and I can relate to wanting to escape the chaos, wanting to escape the grind, wanting that fulfillment, wanting to get those coaching clients, how does someone know if they're a good fit for you? And if they are, where should they go?
Thank you so much. If they are trapped into not helping clients, they are chasing clients all the time, they post content online, they try to do a lot of things without much traction, and they are stuck in that feast and famine cycle, almost certain we can have a chat and discuss. And because from that to fulfillment and to actually clarity is not that hard to get. And happy to help. And you can reach out on LinkedIn and as well on my website, Gabe Marusca, or Marusca is pronounced in English.com. And I'm sure Robert will put links down there, and happy to have a chat and see if I can help in any way. And always open for conversations.
Very nice. And that's what it's all about, right? Have the conversation, put another brain on the problem, and see if someone else can get you to where you want to go. If you just feel stuck, unsure, frustrated, hey, we all feel that. And what do you normally do in that situation? Well, you call a friend, you go to a therapist, you get someone else, an expertise, a coach, you get someone else to help you out to solve this problem. That way, you're not just in it alone, but you have someone else on your team to help get this done. So we said that that's Gabe Marusca. I'm unable to say it the non-English way. I'm not sure if I have the right verbal chops. So Gabe Marusca on LinkedIn. That's linkedin.com/in/Gabe Marusca. And then that website is gabemarusca.com. You can find out all about his podcast, how to stop chasing leads, serve clients longer, and enjoy freedom doing what you love. We've been speaking with Gabe Marusca, entrepreneur, podcast host, and digital nomad. We said find him at gabemarusca.com and then on LinkedIn, Gabe Marusca. And before I let you go, Mr. Gabe, it's time for the scary, frightening, terrifying part of the show where I try to stump you. I try to put you on the spot by asking about a fun quote or lesson that has served you. So what do you have for a fun quote or lesson?
That's a good one. I think humanize yourself might be a good way to end this conversation, especially around this context that you are in which everyone use AI for everything. Try to show the human in you, the authentic human in you, and humanize your marketing, humanize your approach to people. Talk face to face is possible whenever possible. Even on video, it's okay, but face to face is even better. That you'll know your clients best, you'll connect with people, you'll open opportunities, and from there, the path to fulfillment is much more easier than to just get stuck into let AI do everything for you. Try to humanize your approach, and I'd love to end up with that.
I love it. Humanize your approach. Don't let AI replace you. Use AI to elevate you, right? Just get it to get more appointments for you or the right kinds of appointments. Or we log in a LinkedIn, Gabe, and there's this thing called the dead internet theory. I think we talked about it when we met a few weeks ago, right? You're like, is it 70%? Is it 85% of all the content I see? Is it all AI? And then the comments are all AI, and it's like it's AI talking to AI. And where does humans fit in there? Where you say, I'll do my meetings, I'll do my Zooms, I'll do my podcasts, I'll do my client onboarding, I'll do my face-to-face, and that's how we stand out compared to those other people that, why are they hiding behind AI? Why not use it as a tool to multiply, amplify what you've been doing? So if you out there in podcast land, if you're an established consultant ready to gain true freedom through entrepreneurship without burning out or breaking down, then chat with Mr. Gabe Marusca. On LinkedIn, search Gabe Marusca. You can click the connect button, click the message button, and have that conversation with him. So that way you can stop spending so much time chasing clients instead of helping them. You can get out of that custom solution trap he talked about. And if you want to charge more without working after hours, then you can get Mr. Gabe's help. That's GabeMarusca.com and Gabe Marusca on LinkedIn. Mr. Gabe, it's been wonderful, enlightening, lots of fun speaking with you. Thank you for being here, and I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Robert. It was a pleasure. And for those listening, please make sure you follow Marketer of the Day podcast and give a review to this amazing podcast, because Robert, what he's doing here is a act of love, sharing knowledge, sharing insights that you can apply in your day to day. So make sure to follow the podcast.